Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Welcome to another episode of Sports Nonsense and Whiskey Tuesday, December 13th. Hanging with my boy, Pinky. How you doing, my guy?
Man, I am doing great. I got some Broncos Breckenridge whiskey from my boy Mike.
You were a big
Very
fan of
good
that?
Christmas present.
Nice.
Very good Christmas present. So thought I'd enjoy some of that.
Remember when we used to do this in studio? We'd have guests come over and hang out, and they would grace us with a delicious bottle, and we had like this reserve going, and now we have to like support ourselves.
I know. I missed the studio. Studio was definitely a way to go.
It was fun. There's no doubt about that.
Now I'm in my cold kitchen. I'm right by the sliding glass door, which when it's cold and snowing, it gets a little chilly. I'm almost thinking I need to put a hoodie on.
Oh,
it's cold. I got the fan. It's going right above
I see
me.
that.
Too.
I see that. Yep, fan's going.
I don't know what's wrong with my family. Had a heck of a weekend. I got to go see Bill Burr with our boy Andy.
How was he live?
Oh, it's good, man. He's always
I
good.
think he's pretty funny.
I love the way he delivers things.
So matter of fact, and just like it's just a conversation, basically.
Yeah. Or then when he just gets like out of control angry.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I find that really funny because I don't really have a lot of characters like that in my life that get like that boiling over rage. I think I have a friend that would get that way occasionally, but not that often. So listening to him just makes me just laugh. And he had he talked about Colorado. He talked about women. I always love it when he talks about women. That's just the best. Because he just puts it in the best way possible, which again, coming from a man, makes sense. And then he told a news story on one of his last specials. He tells a story about his first time taking mushrooms. So this time he was like telling the story of taking mushrooms 2.0.
Oh, geez.
Because he's like, hey, I'm better now. I've worked on myself before I got into the pit of despair. This time I'm going to have a good trip. I think it's going to be okay. And that was really funny when he was telling that story. I was laughing. I was laughing hard. So it was
you have
great
to convince yourself it's going to be okay before you take a drug. It's probably a good idea to just not take the drug.
It's probably a good idea just not to.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I swear, it's gonna be okay. It's good. But it's not okay. I'm not okay.
I don't think a guy with boiling over rage from time to time is probably the right guy to take hallucinogens.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But it all worked out okay. That was Saturday night. I had some drinks with Andy. Just a good time, man. Just a good time. Did miss the UFC fights, which I heard it wasn't a very good card this time. The judging was a little off, so I was thankfully did not miss my fights like I like to watch the fights. So then Sunday, man, went over to Andy's again because he's a Chiefs fan, and we watched the Broncos Chiefs game together, and he almost got me hammered, man.
Almost?
Yeah, I probably needed another shot or two.
Because
I was doing some drinking, and then every time the Broncos scored, I'd do a shot.
Yeah, they made it somewhat interesting, I guess. False hope, if you will.
I mean, they were down 6 points with 10 minutes left to go before Russ got hurt. So anything's possible.
Not on the side of his head. Oh my Lord, that was vicious.
Dude, that was oh my gosh, that was a nasty bump. So I'll be.
That looked like a golf ball coming out the side of his head.
I'm going to the Broncos game this weekend, and I'll be shocked if I'm not seeing the Brett Rippon versus Colt McCoy matchup. The matchup we've all been wanting to see all year.
Remember back in the day when we had hope and we felt good and we thought this was going to be an easy weekend for the Broncos, and they're looking at a division title and a playoff top seed, 1 or 2 seed possibly, and things were just lining up really well based on their schedule. And then we come to this weekend, and Russ Wilson has a giant knot on the side of his head, which is like basically exactly what the season has been.
after playing his best game.
Oh my Lord!
Which again, I
mean, it's not like he played a good game front to back. You know what I mean? Like
it wasn't always pretty.
Marlon Mack made I remember you used to be able to do that run, and
but if you watch that screen again, he did we've been horrible in the screen game, but he does a really good job looking left, waiting, and then going. Now again,
okay, cool, but like
earlier in the game, he throws a screen pass off his back foot that got intercepted for a touchdown. So it definitely wasn't perfect, but you can see that there's some things that are there. And again, I mean,
you're not speaking of hope, like easy there, cowboy.
I'm speaking that if they have all their players, at least they can make things look interesting. So, I mean, you're talking they lost another running back. They were still down most of the left guard because Reisner was out. They played 3 different left guards. So,
I mean, I get there's a lot of injuries. Like I get it, but I don't think the outcome of this season would be much different.
I don't think they make the playoffs by any means, but I do think some of these injuries, without some of these, if we had a full strength team, I think we could have pulled out a couple more of the games that we did. Not anywhere close to what we predicted, and not anywhere close to playoff potential.
Yeah, I mean, I could agree with that. I think we're still giving Seattle a top 10 pick. Like,
oh yeah,
that's, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, oh, terrible.
Yeah, but it'd be like 8 or 9, not
sure instead of
not 2 or 3.
Oh, it's okay. Anyways, good weekend. Well, excellent. I'm happy for you, my guy.
Yeah, it worked out, man. I got another one coming up because I got the Broncos game. We got the company holiday party Friday night. So another entertaining weekend before we get into Christmas.
Good times.
So anything new in your world?
Nope. No, just I can't even remember what I did this weekend. Hung out, ran some errands, replaced some light bulbs in the kitchen.
Say hi to everybody. Yeah, you always got to get your one time on the show, huh?
Crazy little dog. What are you doing? You crazy little thing.
Such a jerk.
Yeah, just a bunch of stuff around the house, so I didn't really do a whole lot of anything.
Oh, that's good.
Got the in-laws coming in, not this weekend, but the next for Christmas. So trying to take care of all the stuff we kind of shoved aside to get my family here. And then now it's like God needs to do something with it. So yeah, not much going on here.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up on TV. I gotta get some time. I gotta watch that House of Dragon. I have not watched that yet.
It's good. Don't go in comparing it to Game of Thrones. Like, they're definitely telling a completely different story, a different way. Like, it's good. I don't know if it's like epically great right off the bat. So we'll see what season 2 holds, but season 1's good. So we'll see what happens.
Well, you did see that they're doing a sequel to Game of Thrones.
The Jon Snow.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
I mean, once you give me dragons, if you're not going to give me any more, I'm already going to be mad at you and disappointed. Like it's all about the dragons.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. But I would like to see. I know it's supposed to be about Jon Snow after he goes back to the Wall.
Up in the north, not the Wall. He goes to the north, man. He goes and lives with the North. Remember?
Oh, well, I guess the Wall doesn't matter anymore since the White Walkers aren't there anymore.
Well, and they totally like burned and broke that whole section out. So
we'll see what stories they want to tell. They can bring back some of the cast. They could bring in new characters. Could be interesting. I guess it's like 2 years away, maybe. So depends on how fast they want to get it going.
Yeah, I don't. Mr. Martin's putting in a lot of time into these shows, and it's. I understand why a lot of fans are super disappointed because he's not doing the books and finishing them. Like by the time Tolkien's material all came out to film, he had written the entire world, like history, lore, the main story that he wanted you to follow that brought you in to learn about the rest of it. Like all of that was already written. You know what I mean? And Martin's like, I did 4.5 books. I think we're good to go ahead and do a series.
He's made so much money that I don't like. The only thing I could say that could make him continue writing would be his love of his characters and his writing. But he doesn't need to write anymore.
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's a bummer that that's the way it played out because by all accounts, like the books are really good. And those first 5 or 6 seasons were really good too. You know what I mean?
I mean, it all culminates with Battle of the Bastards, which was a fantastic episode. And then after that, it definitely kind of dies down. There's still some good stuff in season, the one right before the last one, season 6 or 7. But the last one,
7, I think. Yeah. There's a lot of questionable decisions, and you could tell the showrunners wanted to be done, and for whatever reason, it wasn't going to continue properly. So, oh well.
I keep waiting for the Terry Brooks material to get brought back out. His stuff is really, really good when it comes to fantasy. So,
who?
Terry Brooks. So, they've only made. He wrote Hook. If you remember Hook, the movie.
Of course, I remember Hook. He wrote that like as a movie or as a book.
He wrote that I think he wrote it as a book. I'm not exactly sure on that one, but I know he wrote it. They did take his books. It didn't stay quite true to story, and they did a MTV / Netflix produced a season of the Shannara Chronicles.
Oh yeah, I remember that was like, dude, that was advertised real big.
So it
like flopped hard.
Well, they took the source material, they deviated from it, and then what they were thinking is we're going to get all the teens excited about it because we're going to make everybody in the show super hot. And so the teens would get into it, and it just fell flat. It wasn't horrible. It's just too much of that geared towards teens versus real fantasy fans, which is unfortunate.
Remember, oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank on the author's name now, but he did Wheel of Time, the Wheel of Time series.
Yeah.
I didn't. I started reading the first book, and I had it as like a book on a tablet, like old school, like Nook or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it crashed, and I lost the book, so I never got to finish the first one. And then that show came out and reminded me all about it again. And I don't have a basis because I didn't finish the book, but I know a lot of people who were very disappointed in that series and said it lost its momentum during production because Amazon decided to put all their effort behind the Lord of the Rings series.
I mean, I could probably say that's probably true when it comes to marketing they probably did not market that as well. I watched the Wheel of Time. It was good. It was a good season.
It was all right. I didn't mind it.
So
It'll be interesting to see if they do any more.
Yeah, they've got enough invested in it. I think they'll at least do one more at least. But who knows?
Yeah, I still got to do a bunch. I'm behind on a bunch of stuff, so
I have to sit down and I really need to like look through the list of shows, write them down, and then just start binging them, one by one.
Yeah, I know I haven't done Lord of the Rings.
Enjoyable, not great, but enjoyable.
There's a couple other ones I haven't done yet, so I can't remember them off the top of my head.
Tried to get those two done because my chat group was watching House of Dragon every week, and then they watched the Lord of the Rings. So I at least got through Lord of the Rings. I figured the wife would probably like to watch the House of Dragon since she watched Game of Thrones. So just kind of been waiting to get some time to really dig into that. So
nice.
Got to have that time though.
Yep. That's the kicker.
What's going on in the world of sports, my man?
Whoa, a lot, not a lot. Hockey and basketball are all going on. Football's getting towards the end of the regular season, so it's right in its prime.
Can you believe we are almost to the playoffs?
College football playoffs are about to happen. You got college basketball heating up. College volleyball women's just had their championship, and there's a lot going on in sports. Not a lot we're going to talk about right now. I will say with the World Cup, the semifinals started today. Argentina went out and beat Croatia. So Messi will be advancing to the finals. It'd be one hell of a way to end your international career to finally win the World Cup for your country. That would put him right up there with Maradona. That would make him very close to on that level, I think. So be interesting to see if he can do it. France and Morocco play tomorrow. So, France is the heavy favorite, but Morocco wasn't supposed to make the semis to begin with. So they can throw everything into the wind, if you will, and see what comes out.
Playing on house money.
Yeah, absolutely. So that can be dangerous. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. And then, like I said at the beginning, I think it'd be cool if Messi could get one. So right now I'm definitely pulling for him. Other than that, though, I mean, there's some basketball stuff going on, but nothing crazy. Pelicans are first in the West. The Nets out in the East had a terrible start to the season. They're 8-2 in their last 10. So that's a decent little turnaround. There's all sorts of little things we could talk about elsewhere. I will say before we get to NFL, though, one thing I do want to mention is my condolences to Mike Leach's family. Great college football coach, very well known, respected, loved by all accounts from all the stories I've ever heard and people talking today about him. So he was the mad scientist for sure, invented the air raid offense. I saw his coaching tree today. It blew my mind. Lincoln Riley was on there.
Yeah.
Heupel, the coach out at Tennessee, was on there. Couple other guys that I'm forgetting right now. Big names though. And I was like, dang, I didn't quite. Cliff Kingsbury is from his tree. So he's definitely left a legacy for sure in the world of football, let alone life. So I will say condolences to that family and thoughts and prayers with you guys, and hope everything's okay going forward. So going into football, I mean, not a lot of college football to talk about. Army-Navy game was this last weekend.
Went to overtime, didn't it?
Yeah, first time ever. Double overtime, if I remember correctly.
Did it hit the over?
Yes. First time in I can't remember, 20 years or something like that it's hit the over.
I saw a graphic that everybody was like, hey, when in doubt, bet the under.
It was bad for a lot of people for sure. So that was bad for bettors. And then the Navy coach got fired immediately after the game, and he's been there like 15 years. Had some bad seasons here recently, and got let go. So pretty crazy. Like I said, if you get a chance to ever check that out in the future, it's the pageantry of the game and just the I don't want to say hatred because they don't hate each other outside of playing the game, but that rivalry is so intense while they're playing it, and it's cool to see those sides.
I mean,
go.
We're outside of the lines on the field. Army and Navy have a rivalry, just in general.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All the services, all the branches do, but like when it's brothers in arms kind of thing, it's brothers in arms. Like I remember the 9/11 game, and that was absolutely crazy. Just that game sent shivers up my spine for sure. I'll never forget that game. But like I said, it's cool. All the stuff that goes along with it is fun. College playoffs haven't started yet, so there's not a whole lot else going on. If you do like college football, there's plenty of little bowl games that are about to start coming up. So feel free to watch those.
It's probably next week, right? Next week?
Starting here, the next couple of days. It always starts after the Heisman. And that's where I was going to end with is the Heisman. Congratulations, Caleb Williams. You won the Heisman, had a great season. Lincoln Riley now should have 4 Heisman quarterbacks, in my opinion. I think Jalen Hurts probably should have won the year he was at Oklahoma. So he's got 3, though, Baker, Murray, and now Caleb Williams. So that's pretty wild what Lincoln Riley is able to do.
And Caleb Williams' season's not anything like amazing, but
it was really good. It wasn't spectacular. And I said that last week going into it before we knew who was going to win. Nobody really had that Heisman moment that you're used to feeling or seeing. He put up really good numbers, not spectacular numbers. So, it's just one of those years. Every so often they happen, and Caleb Williams is a really good player. And after next year, I mean, I've already heard talk that there are people saying he would be the first pick in this year's draft if he could come out this year. But he can't because he's a sophomore. True sophomore.
Would he go one over Bryce and CJ?
That's what I've been hearing here recently. I'm not saying everybody feels that way, but I've been hearing it, which is pretty wild. So, he goes out and has another good year next year, which by all accounts he should, because Lincoln Riley's able to recruit, bring more talent in from the transfer portal and go from there. So, see what happens.
Oh, that's disgusting, Chase. Disgusting.
Jameson. Yeah, that would be what he's drinking. Little JMO. You got a little Colorado Kool-Aid with you there, say?
That's just crazy.
It's not bad. I mean, I was more Jack, but JMO's just the Irish version.
I mean, JMO's better than Jack. JMO's better than Jack.
Whatever.
Jack's better than Jim.
So, yeah, that's about all the college football right there, I think.
Chris, a man after my own heart with a 2-finger screwball.
Little screwball is delicious.
We're almost moving to whiskey conversation. Yeah.
Chase. That's all right. When you can tuck and roll out of a golf cart, Cotton, you'll be man enough to drink some Jack Daniels.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
He knows very well what I'm speaking of.
That's a good one.
Cheers.
Caleb,
Cheers,
you want to? I'm going to put this on the screen. give our man an honest answer here.
I'm gonna say it's less than a handful, but he has to have some for work.
I do have some for work, and they all have the USAA logo on them.
Okay.
I've worked there long enough and gotten enough polos that I have about 7 or 8 that I
that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Perfect.
I buy a lot of jerseys.
Oh, awesome. I love it. I love it. You do. You have a lot of jerseys. You have a lot of jerseys.
Something I'm maybe not as proud about, but
I mean, it's definitely a walk down memory lane with some of your jerseys for sure.
Some are good purchases, some are not.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
That's a great idea, Chase. That is a great idea. We don't need Gronk to be the sponsor anymore. I'll do it.
Oh, cheers, sir.
Trying to debate. I got an order kind of going right now. I'm putting together. Trying to debate what jersey I want to get myself this time going around.
Oh, custom USAA jersey. Oh. All right. Focus. That was something special.
They got us off topic, these guys.
You should screenshot that one. That's something special right there. All right, well, NFL. That's all I got for everything else. This week, anyways. There's not a ton going on.
No real sports news other than I mean, I guess we could talk about the unfortunate thing that happened.
How come I don't get to see any of these comments? How are you seeing these?
You don't see them?
No.
Maybe because I'm the one that created the pod. That I get because you don't see the comments, right?
Oh, there they go. Now they're loading.
Oh, it's just your computer.
Probably.
Yeah. You got that busted computer from playing Roblox or something.
Oh, Morocco, really, sir? I don't know about that, Brendan. Over France? You would rather see Morocco go in over France and play Argentina?
Yeah, so Argentina can win, right? That's what's
going
to happen.
It feels like that would be the case. Yeah, that's more accurate. That's what I thought. How many does Mbappe get is the real question. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see Morocco win for sure. I'm not gonna argue that by any means, but I don't. Yeah, they're gonna get smoked. That's probably the truth. Oh,
these characters, they got me off my game.
It's good. This will be fun. Stick around, fellas. You'll see a show.
We did have a major injury last night. Another non-contact injury with Kyler Murray, and man, when a guy doesn't have anybody hit them and they crumple, you just know it's an ACL. It's like you can almost tell.
That real grass argument kind of loses some of its luster because Arizona has real grass.
Correct.
So that whole, well, if it was on real grass, that wouldn't have happened. That dude's on real grass last night.
Yeah, because they've got the real grass that they wheel outside.
It's on this huge hydraulic little tank on wheels kind of thing, and it just slides in and out and goes outside so they can water it and grow it and everything, and then they'll roll it right back into the stadium to.
Raiders do the same thing as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I didn't realize that. Cool, nice.
Yeah. They've got the garage, the cool little garage doors
Yeah.
And the field goes right out.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Did not realize that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, when you have that kind of money, I don't know why the NFL doesn't just pay for everybody to have real grass.
So I know the issue is going to be in some of the older domes. Well, I think most of them are newer, but like Ford Field, Cowboy Stadium, Minnesota.
Well, I guess now that I say that though, like, how are you going to have? You'd really have to redo state. You'd have to have brand new stadiums, like state of the art, with all these sophisticated technologies to be able to do it indoors in a full dome, because grass ain't growing in Chicago or Green Bay or Minnesota this time of year.
I mean, they do a pretty good job in those locations.
Well, I know they do, but I mean, like, once the snow starts falling and stuff, it's really hard to keep grass green and new. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't exactly work that way anymore. Yeah, agreed, Chase. Yeah, it's not lasting the winter in some of those locations in the north. Buffalo with 7 feet of snow on top of it. That grass is just going to be fine when it finally gets off. Nah, I don't think so. Probably not.
Soak up that moisture and grow strong.
Yeah. No, probably not. So, yeah, you'd have to do some kind of crazy indoor, like, greenhouse type of a stadium to be able to keep it going.
They've gotten some good results from the pellets, though, like the artificial grass pellets.
So, yeah. I mean, there's ways that you could do it. Yeah, I saw that one. It could do wonders. There's no doubt about that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens in the future.
I mean, I don't think we've seen a lot of the non-contact ACLs this year, but
I mean, there's been a lot. It just hasn't been one of those years where it's a bunch of major names that it's happening to. But Vaughn just had it happen.
I mean, he was engaged with somebody. It wasn't non-contact.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. But it wasn't like somebody, like, it wasn't like he got cut or like hit or rolled up on anything.
That wasn't that, but he did, like, he was engaged in trying to move, around a guy when his knee just kind of buckled. So, which is bummer. That was a bummer. I was hoping Vaughn would get to go to another Super Bowl and help his team win.
Sure was looking that way, that's for sure. Who does OBJ sign with, and does he play this year?
I don't know, man. Jerry Jones is throwing some super shade on him. Jerry Jones was like, he ain't gonna be ready till the spring. So I know OBJ is like,
out for anybody right now, wouldn't run or anything.
OBJ was like, yeah, I'm gonna play in the playoffs.
Like, that's what OBJ said. He's like, I don't need to play in the regular season.
Right.
I'm ready to go once playoffs start. It's like, damn, if you could just do that every year. Because he could. Right now, if he really wanted to, he signs with somebody right now. They're not going to sign him long term unless he wants them to. Otherwise, they'll just sign him for a prorated amount for the season on whatever that looks like, plus whatever the playoff bonuses are. That's what he'll get paid this year, plus a base. And then he'll be a free agent again next year. And then he could technically do the same thing again next year if he wants to. And just start hoarding his services out every season.
Dallas was so, like, disgusted by OBJ's medical, they signed T.Y. Hilton.
That is true. That is true. It's pretty bad. Chase, as much as you want to believe that, it's technically not true, because that dude was well on his way to being the Super Bowl MVP last year with 2 catches. What was it? 2 catches, 60 yards, and a tud in the first half.
First quarter.
Yeah. So he was about to be the Super Bowl MVP. And he had his playoff run with them was really good.
He's not a superstar anymore. I will absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, he's not Cooper Kupp or anything like that.
You put that dude in the slot as the third option, and he's going to make some plays.
Oh, he'll eat for days.
But I think he would need to play just more than the playoffs. But, I know where Caleb was going with that. At least
he wouldn't have to.
You add that guy to a team if he was healthy to some of these playoff teams, the Bills. If you could add OBJ right now on the Chiefs and push MVS back to the bench where he should be.
Dude, that's what I was just thinking. Think about this. He goes and plays for, I don't know, somebody this year, and they go to the playoffs, but they don't win it all. Next year, he's like, I'm going to go play with the Chiefs. But hey, Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, I'm going to wait. I'm just going to show up come playoff time.
Right.
They'll be like, cool. They would.
They'd be like, okay, you do you, OBJ.
Yeah, Chris, it's interesting.
The Cowboys really needed another wide receiver besides Noah Brown's done some good things. They haven't gotten a lot out of their rookie that they drafted.
Jalen Tolbert hasn't looked good. They obviously don't expect much from Gallup or Washington going forward. Otherwise, they wouldn't feel the need for this. They've got 2 or 3 tight ends they can roll out there, and they've got 3 receivers by all accounts. If you like Gallup, then CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, and Noah Brown, and all your tight ends and your running backs that you've got back there, you should be fine.
Had to yell at my dog. He was doing something.
Fun.
Damn dogs.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to sign with it. I don't know. I mean, Buffalo could use him.
Somebody's going to sign him. Somebody will sign him for the playoffs. I will guarantee that.
I still think Buffalo's probably. I mean, did he go to Buffalo? Yeah. He went to
McDermott was really the first one that was kind of like, yeah, he said he didn't want to work out for us. And that was kind of interesting. Like, he was very politically correct and nice about what he was doing. And then Jerry came on his radio show and he was like, nah, that looked bad. I ain't like what I see.
Hold on a minute. Terrible. I'm going to drive that bus over you, OBJ. Hold on.
Yeah. So, I don't know if Buffalo's the place anymore, though, to be honest with you, because with Von Miller going down, they haven't looked great on offense here recently. They're kind of hit or miss. So I don't know where if he doesn't go to somebody who could win the Super Bowl this year, he's going to end up somewhere where they're just going to be willing to pay him a big contract for the next 3 or 4 years, and he's just going to take that money and run.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all about another Super Bowl, in my opinion. That'd be. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if anybody. I don't know. And I think there's not as many teams that really could use him. Really, really use him. You're such a jerk.
We hear you. Jeez, chill out.
All right, down.
Yeah, interesting to say the least.
Trying to think, was there anything else going on? Let's see what the games looked like last week.
There were some interesting ones.
Let's see. We had 49ers with Brock Purdy kicking the shit out of the Bucs.
He looked poised.
He's definitely serviceable out there. He kind of knows where to go with the ball. He doesn't, he's going to play within the offense.
Did you watch that game?
I watched some of it.
He got lit up at one point and didn't seem to faze him at all. And as long as he can stay within himself and he realizes that, they're not asking him to do too much and he's got a ton of weapons around him, he could be good enough to take him to the Super Bowl. The way they're hitting on all cylinders, it feels like right now.
Defense, DeMeco Ryans got that defense playing great.
Weren't they up 35-0 at one point or something crazy? Yeah, like woo-hoo, woo-hoo.
Cowboys, giving the Texans a whole lot of hope, and then pulling out the game at the end.
That's definitely a way to put it.
I don't know how they hung up 50 on the Giants, and then they almost lost to the Texans like that. I don't know. Maybe that is enough to get them back to realizing you can't let your guard down.
I think it was more kind of that than anything, but I think I was more while I'm watching that game, I was sitting there going, what the hell is Lovie Smith doing with his quarterback? Driscoll's in for a little bit, then Davis Mills comes back in for a little bit.
I was kind of watching it on Bleacher Report, and I was like, wait, did I read that right? Jeff Driscoll? And then it'd come back, and then it'd be like Davis Mills. I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah, dude, that's what was happening. That's exactly what was. I was like, why are you doing this? I'm so
Tell me you want that number one pick without telling me you want that number one pick.
Seriously, obviously they don't like Davis Mills, which, I mean, I haven't seen anything from the guy that would make me be like, no, we got to start over at quarterback. I would be like, I think we could probably win with him if we put some pieces around him that were worth having.
Yeah, but I think it's going to take so much time to do that. And they're
not with all the picks you have now.
Huh?
You got 8,573 picks from Cleveland, so you should be fine to just rebuild your entire roster right now.
They've got their first rounder, and I think their third rounder this year, I think. But I mean, they're going to get a top 15 pick from the Browns. So, but they're taking a quarterback, bro.
Probably. I just, that seems to be why a lot of teams fail in today's
Which
NFL.
is sad. I don't want Bryce Young or CJ Stroud to have to go play for the Texans. That makes me sad.
Who won last year's Super Bowl?
The Rams.
Yep. Would you call Matt Stafford a superstar quarterback? Because I wouldn't.
I always thought he was top 15.
Yeah.
And he's a gunslinger. I don't find he's not the guy. There's certain quarterbacks.
He's good with the potential for some great games.
Yeah. But he's a gunslinger, so there's going to be games where he's 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
Right. Who won the Super Bowl before that?
The Super Bowl before that one? Tampa Bay.
Who's their quarterback?
Tom Brady.
Right, and he's considered what?
The greatest of all time.
Okay, so the likelihood of you getting that in the draft is slim to none. So let's be realistic here when you're drafting. Who won the Super Bowl before that, Pinky?
The Chiefs.
Okay, who's that?
That's Patrick Mahomes, of course.
Oh, wait. What's he kind of considered right now?
He's considered the face of the NFL.
Right. Little baby goat. People are already putting him on a pedestal of going to be just right up there, right? Maybe not as many Super Bowl wins, but he'll go down as one of the greats all time.
Nobody's getting 7, bro.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But they're still putting him in that Mount Rushmore, depending on how you feel type category, right? Already. He's already going on that list. So that's rare. That's probably not going to happen. So give me the one right before Pat Mahomes. Do you remember that one?
That would have been the Patriots.
Was it?
Yeah, Patriots beating the Rams.
Wasn't it the Eagles?
No, Patriots and Rams, Super Bowl 53. Eagles was the year before.
Okay. So Brady again, you're not getting that in the draft. Good luck. Just be realistic. But before that, it was Nick Foles. So you either have a dude who's on the streak of his life, arguably the greatest playoff run of all time, right? Or or a really good quarterback who has his moments of looking possibly great, but not quite there, or the greatest of all time. So within that, that tells me you can win with anything if you build a really good team around this piece.
The one problem you have if you don't have one of the elite guys is just everything has to go right.
I mean, everything go right helps, but it's not like the Eagles had the ball bounce their way. They just all played out of their minds. They played really good football.
I mean, it went really well for him after because Nick Foles' first 2 games before the playoffs were god awful.
They weren't good. I'll agree with that. They weren't good.
But he just went on his he went on his run, right?
Right.
Somehow he learned how to throw back shoulder fades to Alshon Jeffrey, and they ran the football with LeGarrette Blount, and they made it work.
Point being, you can win with anybody. I mean, I didn't want to go as far back as, some of the illustrious names such as Trent Dilfer or, guys down in Tampa Bay, and so on and so forth.
I mean, we can all agree 2015 Peyton Manning was not regular Peyton Manning.
No, they won because of his mind being able to not turn the ball over, keep decent field position, let the defense do their thing.
Everything went their way. The balls bounced their way. The matchups went their way. They played the right teams. When you don't have the elite quarterback at the top of his game, you need everything to really – you have to build a really good team around him, which you might be able to do, but then you have to have some things go your way.
I mean, you have to do that even if you have a really great quarterback.
You do, but it's a little bit easier when
Look how Tom Brady came back from 28-3.
That's poor coaching by the Falcons in that one.
I'm just saying, even the greatest of all time needs some things to go his way in order to come back and win it all. So my point is you can win with anybody. So all these people out there chasing, if your quarterback's playing decent and you don't have pieces around him, maybe you should try getting the pieces around him first, and then if your quarterback can't hold, then go get the quarterback.
I mean, that's like having Kirk Cousins, right? Plays well enough, but you're going to need that team around him to elevate that.
Yep.
No. Let's see. Bengals beat the Browns. Nothing special there. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd both got hurt in that game.
That's not good.
I mean, the last time we were on here, we knew Baker was probably going to get to play some snaps. He ends up playing most of the game. Ends up pulling out 2 touchdowns to win the game at the end of the game.
What's really crazy is all right. My conspiracy theory: McVay retires at the end of the season. They keep Stafford for 1 more year. They keep Baker, and Baker becomes the future quarterback of the Rams. Yep, that's what's about to happen because they don't have the money or the picks to do anything with. So he's going to be the quarterback for a couple years as they start rebuilding again.
No way.
I think that's what's about to happen.
Because they still have to pay Baker.
Cheap. Baker cheap these days, baby.
He's not going to be that cheap.
Yeah, under 30. Baker will take under 30 just to be a starter again. And that's cheap.
But he's not guaranteed to be the starter as long as Stafford's there.
Oh, Stafford's 1 more year. I already said that. Then you'll do Baker for 2, and by that time you'll be able to get your money.
You're going to pay Baker to sit on the bench?
Yeah, because he'll be super cheap. Not next year. Next year he'll be paid as a backup. Because nobody's going to pay him as a starter. Nobody's going to sign him.
We shall see. Couple weird ones. Panthers just really putting the whooping on the Seahawks. That defense was playing really well.
I am very concerned for my Huskers right now. Very concerned.
I don't know. I mean, he's got a good track record in college.
Yeah, but boy, I mean, I already was concerned that his head told him to start. Well, then I wonder though, did the owner say you have to start Baker, and that's why he was stuck with Baker?
Probably. They'd already seen what they had in Sam Darnold, and they weren't excited.
I still think Darnold could be a serviceable quarterback in the NFL. He played good Sunday. Not great by any means, but he played good. I think he only threw for like 180 yards or something like that.
I mean, I think we've seen, can Darnold step in and win you a few games? Yeah, and that's what a really good backup does. Oh. If you need a guy to start the first 6 to 8 games of a season while you let your rookie learn the ropes.
Man, no, let's be honest here. Like, let's think about this. And this is why I think he still has a chance to be a quarterback, a starter. This is why. And I'm not saying he has very many opportunities left to do this, but I still think he can. And this is why. In New York, he had nothing around him. Nothing. That was barren wasteland, what that dude was working with. Then he comes to Carolina, and we're like, well, this is his prove it or lose it kind of thing. And then everybody got hurt. Everybody got hurt. And it was like New York all over again. And then he got hurt. And then this season, he had the ankle injury. Otherwise, I think he would have been starting a lot sooner because Baker is trash and was showing it on the field every week.
But then, I mean, at least towards the end of the game with the Rams, he looked actually competent. So,
yeah. When he just goes out there and he's playing street ball, it's fine. When you actually ask him to run an offense, that's a different story. Then again, maybe McVay can run the right offense for him. Who knows?
The thing that kind of sucks for the Panthers is a team that you start looking at like, hey, we need a quarterback, so we need to be towards the top of the draft to get one. And they're 5-8. In fact, fun fact, if they win the next 4 games, they win the division. They control their own destiny.
Yep. I saw that too. So sneak into the playoffs. Go run the table. See what you can do. You've got some talent. Play with it. See what happens. I mean, honestly, if that happens, that means Darnold played really well, and you can afford to have him sign some kind of prove-it deal where he's not crazy expensive, and you can get some.
He'd probably be 20
around him.
He'd probably get 20.
Right, and that's. I mean, do it for 2 years or something like that, and try to build a team around that. You might be able to do something. But if you don't win out, then that probably means Darnold didn't play well. Other guys got injured. Who knows? And you need to just burn it down and start over.
I'm not a huge surprise because I thought we talked about these guys would be pretty good.
Oh, Jaguars. Wait, real quick. Last thing I was going to say about that game. Sorry. Steve Wilkes might be coaching himself if he gets to the playoffs like that. If they win the last 4 somehow, he might be coaching himself into that head coach job. I mean, let's be honest. He got 1 year in Arizona that was built to fail from the very beginning. They screwed that dude over so hard.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
So who knows what kind of head coach he really is, because what they gave him was nothing to work with.
I just don't think David Tepper, the owner, is going to want to go out and make a splash. That's just my feeling.
But he's kind of done that, and maybe he's starting to think like, hey, just because it's splashy doesn't mean it's best. Maybe Steve Wilkes is the guy, and he's been sitting here on my staff the whole time. Who knows?
Interim coaches don't get hired very often, though.
But interim coaches aren't usually a former guy who was very highly coveted as a head coach, got a chance to be a head coach, and then just got screwed over in 1 year. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit different because of who it is, not that it's necessarily.
That team was really bad. They were really bad. Injuries, bad, not good players. Like, they were bad.
Oh, it was bad.
Jaguars whooped up on the Titans.
I think, have we maybe finally these last couple of weeks seen the coming out and arriving of Trevor Lawrence?
He's definitely playing really well. He really is. I haven't got to see a lot of the game, so I don't know if they're getting pressure, if the O-line's, keeping them clean. But, they're really starting to look good, which is the next team we'll talk about is the same thing. It's like you're seeing them, which is really cool. You're kind of seeing them transition into a team now that instead of expecting them to lose, now we're kind of like, oh, those guys could win that game. Like, Because usually you see the Jaguars and you're just like, oh, yeah, they'll be competitive, but yeah, they're not going to win.
Right.
Now it's like, well, wait a minute. They beat the brakes off the Chargers. They beat the brakes off the Titans. They've played some good games.
That young defense starting to figure it out. The offense looks like it's finally getting a little bit healthier and gelling. I mean, let's be honest. And I said this to start the season. You laughed at me only because you're more show me first before I'm even going to consider you being anything worthwhile. Evan Ingram has been healthy and lighting it up this season. I mean, he's been playing really good ball, honestly. Christian Kirk has been playing like a number one wide receiver in the sense that he's able to get a lot of volume and a lot of yards. Maybe not necessarily the guy you're crazy scared of or he's going to go over the top of your head for a touchdown, but he's allowing them to move the ball down the field consistently. You know what I mean? So guys are starting to come together and know their roles, I think maybe is the deal. And it's Travis Etienne healthy. Yeah. Oh my God, that dude is running crazy.
I feel bad for the Jaguars because they're getting the first healthy season from Evan Ingram, and you're going to pay the guy, and are you still going to get healthy Evan Ingram?
I mean, has he played that well though? Where you're going to have to pay him? I don't think he's played that well.
I think he's, at least from a free agent perspective, he may be the top free agent tight end on the market, which usually means you get overpaid.
Damn, that is true if you think about it that way. Well, hopefully
it's usually about availability. Like, if there were like 3 or 4 really good tight ends that technically are going to be made available, then it's like, hey, like, yeah, he might not be the top guy on the list, but I don't think there is. I think he is the top guy. And he's always had that talent. It's just you could count on him for 6 games.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, I think mathematically the Jags still have a chance to get into the playoffs. They need quite a few things to happen.
It's slim.
But they're still kind of in that lurking on the outside of possibility teams.
And we had the Lions really beating the brakes off of the Vikings. The score is a little bit more respectable, but the game was not that close.
They were smoking them, yeah. Do you think I kind of feel like right now Lions are going to make the playoffs?
Well, think of it this way. Lions could definitely sneak in where they're at right now. Lions still have a top 5 draft pick because they have the Rams draft pick.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And that offense, they're not going to get a lot of credit for it, but that offense is a top 10 offense right now.
Dude, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to win in the first round as well. Now, depending on who they play in the second round, I don't know. Dude, that defense is finally starting to be respectful. Or respectable, I should say. Not respectful. Respectable. And that's all that offense needs. Because when you're hanging 30 a game.
Here's the thing, though. Like, the the Eagles are going to get the bye, most likely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Lions, if they sneak into that 7th seed, they're playing the 2 seed.
Dallas or San Francisco, probably.
Cowboys will be the 5th. They're going to be locked into the 5th seed. Because the Eagles are going to win that division. Eagles are going to win the division.
Oh, yeah. What am I thinking? Duh. Yeah.
Cowboys are going to be like 11-5 or
yeah. So it would be 12, San Francisco.
They're going to be 12-5 and still be 5th. So,
well, I guess it could still be Minnesota.
It could be. I mean, they're 10-3, so possible. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't like them against the Niners. But I would love them against Minnesota.
Against Minnesota, yeah. I would. The Niners would obliterate them. I also think I think the Cowboys would put a pretty good beating on them too.
I think that game would be really close. Yeah. Because what can Detroit do really well? Run the ball. And what is Dallas's Achilles heel? And on top of that, what's Jared Goff best at? Play action. So you run the ball down their throats and then you let Jared Goff play action with those weapons. That would be Dallas's Achilles heel, dude. That's why they don't want to see San Francisco.
Oh, I don't think any team wants to see San Francisco, even with Brock Purdy.
No, they don't. But I'm saying that's why Dallas specifically doesn't want to see San Francisco.
Oh, Dallas needs to figure out, like, read the tea leaves and do whatever they can. Like, if it's losing 2 games, like, they need to lose 2, like, whatever they need to do to not play San Francisco.
For sure. So, no, I'm really liking Detroit to sneak in somehow now and win a first-round game.
I'll have to take a look at the numbers and see where they're at in the standings. Because, yes, I like the Lions.
There's a couple things that have to happen. They pretty much have to win out, but it is very possible.
What they need to do is they need to keep winning out. They need the Seahawks to keep losing. The Seahawks are on a losing streak right now. They need that to continue.
They do.
Because I think the Seahawks are 6th or 7th right now. And I think the Giants
Seahawks are starting to have some serious injury issues, unfortunately.
I think the Giants and the Commanders are right there as well, above them. So they
but I like the Lions long term to end the season more than both of those teams.
We'll see.
So
let's see. Bills beat the Jets. Mike White getting hurt multiple times probably didn't help. The Jets did give it all they could.
Hey, what do you think about this? Jags and Detroit, we both said we're a year away. Basically, we thought they'd be competitive this year, but not competitive as in I'm going to be in the playoffs and push for a title. We thought that was a year away pretty much. We said the same thing about the Jets. All 3 of those teams are competitive way more so record-wise than we thought they would be. And the Jets, if you're the Jets, do you just go, let's actually run with Mike White and build a team and see what happens?
Oh, Zach Wilson's done.
I think so. Even though they keep saying it's not permanent, it's just for this season. Like, nah. Mike White seems to be pretty good, actually.
Imagine that. You just find a guy out of nowhere. But
I mean, he played pretty well last year, and they still went back to, like, they're forcing Zach Wilson down everybody's throat. And it's like, dude, you guys made a huge mistake, obviously. And everybody knew that going into the draft, and you still did it.
Yeah, Mike White's playing good, man. And I'm excited to see him this week. We had the Eagles blow out the Giants. No surprise there. Jalen Hurts is MVP, man. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is MVP. It's just not fair, man. When they're running,
Patrick Mahomes is right there. So if Jalen Hurts has a really bad week out of nowhere, like throws a couple interceptions, they lose the game, and Patrick Mahomes keeps playing the way he is, Patrick Mahomes might win it.
This is what's going to happen.
One of them have bad weeks. I think it's Jalen Hurts's.
No, Jalen Hurts is my MVP. I've seen the numbers. I've watched the games.
No matter what happens the rest of the season.
No, I don't think they're going to fall off. Their schedule's so easy. There's no way he has turd games.
Bro, don't do this. It's the NFL. We should, especially this year.
The way they're playing, I don't see them having turd games.
What I'm saying, if he had a bad week and they lost, then
Mahomes is the face of the NFL, and Mahomes' numbers are right there. I still think they're going to make Mahomes the MVP. I think Jalen Hurts should be, but I do think they're going to make Mahomes the MVP.
Oh, I don't think so. I think Hurts is the MVP right now. I think that's who gets it.
That's who should get it, but I think they would put Mahomes at MVP. We'll
see.
That's my thoughts on that.
Okay. Okay.
And then the Ravens beat.
Going back to Philly real quick though, I did want to mention Miles Sanders having a sneaky good year. Over 1,000 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns.
Healthy most of the year too, which has been his issue.
He's got 4 more games? So, he could very easily hover around that 1,400 yards, 15, 16 touchdowns the way he's been playing this year. And that would be a hell of a season.
That's a great season for any running back.
So, you start looking at that, and then obviously the A.J. Brown ad, Slim
AJ
Reaper,
Brown's been
Devontae Adams
fantastic.
is playing crazy good.
That's pretty good, Cotton.
I like that. That's 3-0. Burrow to Mahomes.
He lost to Josh Allen too. Allen's numbers have definitely come down though, so I don't think he's in that conversation at the moment. I think it's Mahomes and Hurts right now is the conversation.
Definitely.
And I would vote Hurts in a landslide, but so that was last week. This week, and again, this is where some of these teams are going to keep separating. Chiefs are playing.
You're not even. Hang on.
What?
Just
what did I miss?
You're not going to even talk about the Patty Mahomes throw?
Oh, I mean, we already kind of talked about that game, but if we want to revisit it, I mean, sure.
I mean, just that throw. I don't need to talk about the rest of the game. We already did that, but that throw, like I figured you'd at least mention that was because you're talking about the MVPs and everything. I thought maybe you would, discuss, why Mahomes might get voted. As in that throw was disgusting. Like I talk about Heisman moments. Like, did you have that Heisman moment this season and that really wasn't one? Like, that's kind of one of those MVP moments. Now, Hurts has a couple of those as well on a run and a couple throws, and so it's still even there. But man, that was the things that dude does on a football field is pretty crazy.
It's remarkable. It is, and it's painful because we have to watch him, multiple times this season, and it's fun to watch. It's good for fantasy. It hurts as a Broncos fan, but yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? The defenders actually played that well. They did everything they're supposed to do, and
like I've always said, I hate when people say defense wins championships because, as far as I'm concerned, a great offense always beats a great defense because you have the advantage. You know what you're doing, and they don't. So a great offense should always win, always, in my opinion. When you don't, it's because you screwed up, not because they beat you. And I will believe that till the day I die.
Yeah, that was painful. That's painful. But, oh well. We'll see that for another, 7 to 8 years. Just painful.
Hey, good news is they're going to keep their stadium downtown. I knew you'd love that. Big fan of that, right?
I mean, they have to for the next 10 years anyways. They're under lease. So nothing about that, like, is surprising. Like, there's some renovations that need to be done regardless, but they're still there for 10 years. Plus, they still have to get everything approved and ready and built on the new one. So it's still going to be 10 years. They're getting a new stadium.
They'll buy the land. It'll be southeast, my guess, somewhere between Denver and Castle Rock.
I had somebody else say that too, like, oh, Pinky, they're going to be staying downtown. I was like, no, the lease is already for 10 years. What they're doing is getting money put into it now to make it nice for the next 10 years before that new one gets built.
I see him going somewhere buying a bunch of land southeast side there of 470 as you're coming up into Denver. I see them moving practice facilities and everything over there, redoing everything.
I mean, the practice facility is still pretty good. I don't know.
I'm not saying it's bad, but I think they overhaul. They're going to be. I think they want to be the top of the market when it comes to facilities, stadium, everything. By the time it's all said and done, that's going to be their goal, right? And they also want to become the de facto hub for the NFL. I believe that's what they want. And the reason they're going to be able to do that is, one, because of their money and the way they're able to build things. But two, when you start talking about central of the country, Denver's pretty much it.
Pretty close.
Right? So if they do things right, they build the right stadium. It needs to be a retractable dome. Has to be. They will have a Super Bowl year one that stadium in effect.
And you can keep it open the majority of the time.
Yep.
Because it is sunny the majority of football season. It's just that occasional game Super Bowl or other event,
if you want a Super Bowl, you need a retractable roof. Period. Done. So the problem with that, though, is I don't think Denver will show very well as a Super Bowl city because our transportation is trash.
Well, and if you're talking about this being out east, everything's downtown. So it's not quite the same.
But if you had good public transportation, you're talking about, a 20, 30-minute train ride right into downtown to the stadium.
10 years from now, we might have it.
Maybe. But that's asking a lot of Colorado. We're usually about 20 years behind. So that means 30 years from now, they'll have exactly what they needed for the Super Bowl 20 years prior. That's kind of, for God's sakes, we still only have one way to go north and south and east and west in this entire state.
There's some ways around it, but
obviously, but for all intents and purposes, it's I-70 and I-25. Like that's it.
And that's a majority of the states in the country. There's not, a lot of states have that the way that they're built. Oh.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Like there's other major intersections and highways and stuff. Denver doesn't. Colorado as a whole doesn't really have that, but Denver as a whole, you get I-25 to go north pretty much, or 470 around and pay all the tolls. Like there's not many options. So
it's a little limited.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. This week, what do you got for us, buddy?
So this week, it's definitely like the top teams against the bottom feeders. Or maybe not bottom feeders, but teams you would expect they would beat.
Okay.
Chiefs, Texans.
Yeah, that should definitely be the Chiefs pretty easily.
I could see Mahomes going, I can put up 5 touchdowns in this game. So help pad those stats some more.
Sure.
You got Eagles, Bears. I think the Eagles will overwhelm the Bears.
You know what? Hang on a second. As we go through this, because it's going to be the first week of fantasy playoffs, let's run down our fantasy thoughts here as well on each contest. So go back to that first one.
If you have Chiefs players, you're playing them, period.
Mahomes eats, Kelsey eats,
McKinnon, Juju.
I think Pacheco eats.
So Pacheco,
I think he gets 100 yards and a touchdown.
So what you're seeing from Pacheco is they're giving him those 10 to 15 carries, and he's getting the tough yards, and he's getting the 5-yard run on first down. But he's not going to get the volume. If you need a guy for the flex, Pacheco all day. Absolutely.
I think this is just one of those games where they might try to rest McKinnon a little bit, and Pacheco gets those late minutes.
I just see them throwing I just think they're going to throw the ball around the yard. So
yeah, until the third quarter starts, and then they're up by 35 and they start running it. That's what I'm saying.
And I even think they'll get the third string guy involved versus Pacheco because they'll want to try to keep him healthy by then.
Maybe in the fourth quarter. Okay, but I think you're right. All Chiefs players eat.
You know what my dream is?
Juju eats. Oh, you know who could really have a huge game, actually, just because they want to try to get him involved if he plays, like I've heard he's going to. Kadarius Toney is going to have a big game if he plays.
My dream is that, and unfortunately this is bad because I want Pacheco to get hurt, but in the playoffs, Pacheco gets hurt. They have to pull Melvin Gordon up off the practice squad, and he fumbles in the AFC Championship game to lose the game. That's what I want to see.
Wow.
That's what I want to see.
Wow. Jeez, Pinky.
I am hating on that guy for the end of time.
Moving along. Jeez, that was dark and cold.
He put me in a dark place, Caleb.
Woo! You need to take another sip here, buddy.
I've been taking a bunch.
Yeah. I think Dameon Pierce has a big game. You can run on the Chiefs.
You can run on the Chiefs
pretty efficiently. So I think Dameon Pierce is safe to play as well.
And if you have Dameon Pierce, you're probably playing him. And it's a good week.
Most likely, but again, I think he's safe to play first week of the playoffs. You can feel comfortable playing him in starting running back or flex.
Eagles, Bears. Again, if you have any Eagles players, you're playing them. I mean, Devontae Smith's getting run. A.J. Brown is crushing.
I wouldn't say
Miles
any.
Sanders.
I'm not playing Boston Scott. I'm not playing Gainwell.
Oh,
I'm not playing whatever tight end is
consider
playing.
those guys you're playing anyways.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you have them, I'm not playing them. Like, because a lot of people were high on Gainwell and drafted him, fairly respectably. Maybe a little bit higher than his ADP. So there's a lot of people kind of like me and Chase Edmonds thought Chase Edmonds would blow up, and that was a terrible mistake. I think people are kind of high on Gainwell, and that didn't happen. So you're not playing him. But everybody else, yeah. I think Justin Fields makes this interesting. I do.
I don't.
I do.
I just think they're going to get overwhelmed. I think the Eagles are going to score. I think they're going to just have the snowball effect where the Eagles.
I also think Kmet has another big game.
Sure.
5 catches, 70 yards or so you can feel comfortable starting him in the tight end first week of the playoffs. I'd feel comfortable starting Fields if I have him as my quarterback, to be honest with you.
Oh, I think you start Fields. He's going to churn out at least 70 yards rushing.
And I think David Montgomery you could start as well if you have him.
With Fields running the ball as much as he has, the floor for him in fantasy is so high. You got to play him.
Yeah.
Got to play him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's definitely going to score you 20 points. That's his floor.
I like that.
Oh. Let's see if we have any more of those types of games. I don't think we have any more. Everything else is pretty
run
close.
Through the rest of the games then. We'll do some fantasy on them.
Ravens, Browns.
Ooh. I'm playing J.K. Dobbins. The Browns defense.
They did not have him. They did not have him on a pitch count like they were saying they were going to.
No, he looked fine.
They were just like, hand him the ball a lot.
I don't know if I'm playing anybody else, though, on the Ravens, to be honest with you, because it looks like the third string quarterback's coming into play. So you can't bet on even Andrews to be good.
They're projecting Huntley to be okay.
Are they? Because last I heard, he was still questionable.
So he's still got the questionable tag because he's still in the protocol, but his points went from like 1 to now he's projected at 20. So they're projecting him to play.
Okay. Well, then if he plays, then I'm playing Andrews for sure. And if you have to play Huntley, you could probably play Huntley. If you've had some injury issues, I wouldn't hate if you're playing Huntley.
I have to play Huntley in 2 leagues, so.
But I think he gets you 17 to 20.
In the one league, I'm not in the playoffs. It's just so that I'm not the Sacco, because the bottom teams play, and whoever loses out is the Sacco, and you have to buy a bunch of alcohol if you're the Sacco. So you do not want to be the Sacco.
Don't want to be the Sacco.
Of course, you're
starting. Who was the other team? Ravens and who?
Browns. You're starting Nick Chubb.
The Ravens' defense has not been very good this year. Do you think Deshaun Watson could have a decent game?
No. I haven't seen anything right now that I think he's still getting his feet wet. I don't think you're going to get a consistent game from him right now.
Okay. In a pinch, though, I will say this. If you need a flex spot, not all of, but one of Njoku, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or Amari Cooper is going to have a good enough game to play in your flex. Though, I'm not sure.
If you got Cooper, you're going to play Cooper. I'm going to hand this one to you and let you talk about it. And I got to run to the bathroom. Patriots, Raiders. It's on you, buddy.
Patriots, Raiders. A lot of people, like me included, that have Ramondre Stevenson are a little scared and worried right now because if he doesn't play next week, you're probably missing out on one of your starting running backs. And the news isn't good about him playing. Damian Harris still isn't going to play probably. You're not playing any of the Patriots wide receivers. I'm not playing Mac Jones, so I'm not touching anybody on the Patriots at this point. You're playing Devontae Adams because you have to. You don't necessarily feel good about it. Hopefully you don't have to play Derek Carr, but depending on where you drafted him, you might have to, and you're not going to be feeling good about it. But if you made it to the playoffs with those two, it means the rest of your team is stacked. So You've got some options, hopefully. You're playing Josh Jacobs, definitely playing Josh Jacobs, and that's about it.
So the interesting one is Patriots defense has played some good games here and there. They've actually scored pretty good amount of points in fantasy.
You know what? I haven't been thinking about what defenses you could play, but that is a sneaky maybe play if you're streaming defenses.
If you're streaming defenses and the Pats are out there, they probably aren't. But if they are, that's one you could play.
Sure.
Cowboys, Jaguars.
If you have any Cowboy, you're playing them. Like if you have Noah Brown and you played him in the flex last week, you're going to play him in the flex again this week. You don't think so?
If you have better options, I'd play better options. But
I mean, he's had pretty solid games this season, and you're playing the Jags.
Again,
I'm saying if you had to play him last week, you're probably playing him again this week. Like that's what I'm saying.
Well, last week there were still like 4 or 5 teams on bye. This week there's no buys.
That's true. That's true. I forgot about that. That's true.
So you might not be as desperate this week.
Good point. If you are though, I wouldn't hate that against the Jags. You're playing Pollard. You're playing Zeke. Zeke is averaging like 70 yards and a touchdown.
I have a league. I have them both. I've been starting them both for like the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I would love that actually, to be honest with you. Normally that would be like I'm screwed mode and you're scrambling. But in this situation, it's like they're each averaging like 15 plus a week, like playing together. Like it seems to be they score more when they play together. It's crazy. You're playing CD Lamb, you're playing Schultz, you're playing Dak. On the Jags, honestly, if I have any Jags, I'm playing them. I am seriously playing them. I do not believe Dallas's defense is that great in the sense that their secondary, their pass defense and their pass rush is really good, but Jags actually have a lot of weapons, and I think they're going to be able to run enough with ETN to open up those passing options.
Cliche as it is, you got to stay ahead of the chains.
Sure.
You got to make it 3rd and 2 or something quick and easy because you can't let Micah Parsons rush the passer. You just can't.
I honestly think if you have ETN and you have any concerns, you play him, and I think he goes off for 20 plus this week. I seriously believe that about ETN. I'm talking like a crazy stat line where he's got like 12 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown, and then like 5 receptions for 60 yards and another touchdown. Like big game.
We agree Cowboys should probably win that game, right?
Yes, I believe the Cowboys will win, but I don't think it'll be a blowout.
Bengals, Buccaneers.
You're playing every Bengal.
I don't think you can play any of the I have a team. I'm not playing Mike Evans this week.
You're playing Godwin. Because he's a target monster for the most part with Tom Brady. If you have another option, I'm not playing Brady. I'm not playing Fournette or White. I'm not playing Mike Evans. I agree with you there. The only Buccaneer I feel like I would play if I had to would be Godwin. And even then, if I had other options, I might seriously consider it depending on what those other options are.
Like in the league,
if you have 0 running back and you have a bunch of wide receivers, I don't know if I'd play Godwin.
So in the league that I'm not playing Evans, I have Tyler Lockett and AJ Brown, and I'm playing like 4 running backs. So I didn't have a spot for Evans. I think I'm playing Pacheco over Evans.
I would. This week I would.
I think the Bengals will probably win that one. I think it's going to be closer. I just don't see Tom Brady having 2 horrible games in a row. But
Bengals by 13 plus.
I don't know, man. It's in Tampa.
Good warm weather. Joe Burrow loves that shit.
This one I'm excited to watch. It's actually the Thursday night game. I'm really excited this is Thursday night, so there's nothing else to watch. It's this game. 49ers Seahawks. Division game. Teams going in opposite directions right now.
Let's get it. Okay. If you're in the playoffs and you have Geno Smith, that means you were starting Geno Smith all season.
Which was a great play.
It was, but tough matchup for first week of the playoffs. So
I don't want anybody playing against the 49ers defense. I really don't.
Here's a question. If you have Geno Smith and Brock Purdy is available on waivers, would you grab Brock Purdy to play against Seattle instead of Geno Smith against San Francisco?
I think I still go by Geno because he got you there.
It's a close call, but I agree. And I actually think Geno will get you like 17-ish points, which is not bad.
I think you could play Purdy and get 20, but I don't think you're going to get like a monster game from Purdy. Debo's not playing.
You could also start Purdy and he could get you like 8. It's still a rookie. It's a short week.
Seahawks can't stop the run at all.
Exactly.
So I see them just lining up and running McCaffrey.
Purdy could throw for 200 yards and look good all night, but not have any touchdowns or rushing yards, and so you only get 8 points out of him.
And the 49ers will probably win by 20.
Yeah. So I agree. You play Geno, even though Purdy might get you 20. Geno, I think, is a smooth, 15 to 17, so he's not going to kill you.
It's hard to do. But
I'm playing Lockett. I'm playing DK. You have to.
If
you have them, you're playing them.
You got to. Sometimes you got to remember, do what got you there.
Are you playing Kittle if you have him?
Yeah, you're playing. I mean, if you have Kittle, you drafted him high, you're going to play him.
Obviously, you're playing McCaffrey. I would be playing Ayuk. If I have Ayuk, I would be playing Ayuk too.
I mean, if you've got a different tight end than Kittle, I'm trying to think like who would you have that you drafted second that would be a better option.
If you don't have a top 5 tight end right now, and I don't know who the top 5 are depending on your platform that you're playing on, and we like to play in a lot of leagues the 1.5 for a reception with the tight end, so that can skew numbers a little bit too. But if you have a top 5 tight end and you have Kittle, don't overthink this. Don't play Kittle and go, well, he's due for a big game. Play whoever the hell that top 5 tight end is that got you to the playoffs and leave Kittle on your bench.
Kittle's big games have been far and few between this season, and they're still winning.
For the last couple seasons, actually, unfortunately.
I mean, he's thrown a couple big ones out there, usually 1 or 2 a season.
I'm not saying he doesn't, but it's just, honestly, for being a top 3 tight end in the league, by everybody's standards, he's not that in fantasy. 1, because he misses a lot of time. And 2, the style of play that offense runs just isn't consistent enough for him to be big time. Mostly because of the quarterback. But regardless, continue.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have a Mahomes throwing to him, right? Or a quarterback that's just going to feed him the ball.
Right.
49ers are going to run away with that one. It is only, I might jump on that. The line's only 3.5 right now.
Is it in Seattle?
It is in Seattle.
That would do it.
I think I might jump on that.
That's interesting.
Vikings, Colts.
Every Viking you have, you're definitely playing because it's going to be Cook, Cousins.
It's so fun because I'm thinking, I'm like, man,
Thielen,
the Vikings
Hawkinson.
were so manhandled by the Lions, but they should win this game.
Should.
Matt Ryan's pretty limited. I think they should win this game. But yeah,
honestly, and this is going to be crazy, but if you drafted Jonathan Taylor and you're in the playoffs, you got there without playing Jonathan Taylor. Don't play him just because you're in the playoffs and you're like, well, he's going to have a big game finally. It's Minnesota. They don't defend the run well. Like, Jonathan Taylor can blow up this week. If you got to the playoffs and you drafted Jonathan Taylor, that means you weren't playing Jonathan Taylor. Don't play him. Like, I wouldn't play any Colt this week if I didn't have to.
I'm playing Jonathan Taylor because he's going to run all over the Vikings.
Maybe.
Their run defense isn't good.
I know, but the Colts haven't been.
Again, typically, if you made it, you probably made it because your wide receivers are still good, but your running backs probably aren't great. You're probably still going to play Jonathan Taylor.
Man, that's tough.
If you have a better option, though, if you sat him, I wouldn't say you're crazy, but
You know what is crazy? The fact that we're even having this conversation. That's crazy.
He is at the top of the list of fantasy bus. And I had guys tell me I was crazy in a league where I said I would take Christian McCaffrey over Jonathan Taylor. And I was told I
don't know how that's crazy. Like, to me, it was a coin flip at the beginning of the season. And I really didn't. I took McCaffrey over Taylor in a couple leagues, actually. So I don't know. Whatever. I'm not playing any Colts. Personally, if I can afford it, I'm not playing them.
Super excited for this game, but I have to find some place to watch it because it's only on NFL Network. It's the Saturday night game, Dolphins and Bills.
Other than Nyheim Hines, I would play Cook in this game, to be honest with you. If I had him, I would give him some serious consideration in my flex spot, depending on what I have available to me. Because there's been a lot of big injuries this year with some situations. I'm playing everybody on both sides of that ball. I'm playing Allen. I'm playing Gabe Davis if I have him because I drafted him in a situation where
they're all your top guys. So I don't think there's a lot of debate there.
You're playing Waddle. You're playing obviously Tyreek Hill. You're playing both Dolphins running backs if you have them. Now a lot of these guys.
I think Wilson's hurt.
He is. I wasn't sure if he was out or just.
I think he's out. I think.
So if Mostert's the only one you're playing, Mostert. The only other guy I'd say I probably wouldn't touch if you have better options, but might not be a bad option if you need a sneaky play and he's available and you're desperate. Gesicki. He could have a good game against Buffalo.
They don't use him a lot, so that's a tough call.
Hopefully you have other options, but if you drafted Dawson Knox, there's a good chance he's your only tight end. So you play him, but you may not feel great about that.
Dawson Knox has his best game of the season last week, and this week he probably won't even catch a ball.
Exactly. So it's tough, but you have Singletary, you're playing him. Honestly, I think Cook has a good game. Like, I'm talking like 10 to 13 fantasy points. Like, that's a solid flex spot.
I mean, if you have to flex them, you flex them. Like, I'm fine with that. But yeah, I would hope you have better options. But maybe you don't.
Well, we're deep in. You may have better boom options, but they could be better bust options at the same time. You know, like if you're looking for somebody in your flex that's going to be solid, I like James Cook for 10 to 13 points this week. I don't know why I do. I just feel like Miami's defense has been vulnerable, and they seem to like to really want to get Cook involved in the offense here recently.
These two teams were on a bye last week, and I completely forgot about them altogether.
Oh, no.
The Falcons and the Saints. Which is pretty much like the Who Cares It Bowl, although this will be Desmond Ritter's first start.
I would say if Cordarrelle Patterson is designated healthy and plays, I would play him in my flex if I have him. I would. I honestly would play Cordarrelle Patterson in my flex.
I don't know if I play any Falcons just because the Saints defense, even though they're 4-9, the Saints defense has still been pretty good all year.
I would play Kamara and Olave both if I had them. Obviously, you're starting Kamara. Olave, I think he scores enough to be a wide receiver starter, not just a flex.
Sure. I mean, he's been super consistent. I don't have a problem with that. Then we get into this juicy matchup. Lions-Jets. Tough one. Jets defense pretty good.
I don't think that matters. I think Detroit hangs 24 plus easy. I think Amon-Ra scores a touchdown. I think Swift gets a touchdown. I think Williams gets a touchdown. Running back Williams, not wide receiver Williams.
Lord knows DeAndre Swift ain't getting no touchdowns. Those are all Jamal Williams touchdowns. Okay?
Swift is getting one this week. Those three are definitely getting touchdowns this week.
We might have to do a beer bet on that.
Okay.
I don't think Swift's getting in.
Swift's getting in. If Mike White plays, That means he's healthy enough to go out there and sling it.
He says he's good.
I know, but that can always change once you get hit.
The Lions defense ain't gonna touch him, man. He'll be okay.
I like Garrett Wilson a lot this week as a flex play. And another sneaky flex play, especially because you're playing the Lions, Zadavian Knight.
Yeah, they hate Michael Carter.
Zadavian?
I thought it was Xavier.
Xavier.
I thought it was Xavier.
Mr. Knight. I apologize, sir.
Mr. Bam Knight
is a sneaky flex play this week.
Bam Bam.
I like it.
This is a playoff game, man. Because this could get the Lions close to that 6-7 seed, and this keeps the Jets in the playoffs.
Yep.
So it's Lions are 6-7, and the Jets are 7-6.
It's gonna be a good game. That'll be a fun game to watch, actually.
That's a good game. Steelers Panthers. Just want to see Sam Darnold keep putting up wins. Steelers suck, man. Mike Tomlin is getting that first losing season.
Yes, he most definitely is. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I know this is going out on a limb, but if you have Kenny Pickens, start him. He's going for 80 and a touchdown.
George Pickens.
Did I say Pickett? No, I said Pickens.
You said Kenny Pickens.
Oh, my bad. Oh, goodness. Yes, George, please. My bad. George Pickens. I believe he's going for at least 80.
Although that Panthers defense has been playing pretty good, man. And
it has. I'm not trying to take anything away from
Pickens' volume has come down.
I think that defense has been playing well. I just feel for some reason he's due almost one every other or one every 2 or 3 games. He's had a couple of off ones. I think he's going to get that other one again.
Let's talk about the last 2 games that don't matter.
Okay.
And then there's 2 more that actually matter.
Okay.
Rams Packers. That's the Monday night game.
That's so sad.
And the only thing that's interesting about that is, okay, Baker, you came behind and won a game. What can you do now?
I'm playing Watson. I'm playing Aaron Jones. I'm playing AJ Dillon, and I'm playing Lazard. If you have any of those guys, I'm playing them, and I'm okay with it, and I'm feeling good about it. Actually, I'm probably
not playing Dillon. I don't know. He's been kind of a bust.
I am in that game only because they'll probably split carries, and he'll be able to run all over the Rams.
What a turd! I mean, they had no idea that this was going to be such a turd.
Right. I'm not playing anybody on the Rams. Move along. That's boy. Bad.
The other one that doesn't really matter, Cardinals Broncos. I mean, you could probably play D-Hop.
Connor and D-Hop, I think you could play.
Connor gets enough, receiving volume that you got.
I'm not playing anybody on the Broncos if I'm in the playoffs. It means you got there without having to. That's it.
I think. Well, if Sutton's not playing, I think you could still play Judy, but that'd be about it. And if you've got one of those,
I haven't seen it consistent enough to feel good about that. Hopefully, you have other options.
Hopefully, you have other options.
3 touchdown game is an aberration from Judy and Wilson. Like
that's an aberration for any Broncos player since 2014.
Yeah, dude, that's you'll be lucky to get over 3 catches and over 40 yards next week from Judy.
Rippon does like Judy, so I think you can get some volume from Judy, but that's about it. The sneaky play is the tight end, Dulcich. They do try to scheme him open.
They do.
And he could get some points there. Cardinals
that
defense
could be a boom or bust. If you're looking for a boom or bust option at tight end and you're trying to stream something and hit, that could be one for sure.
But since no matter who wins, it doesn't really matter. Giants and Commanders. They're both 7-5-1.
You're playing Saquon. And that's probably the only Giant you have, so that's all you have to worry about.
I think Saquon's about the only guy you can really trust.
I would play
sneaky.
If you have Antonio Gibson, I would play him in my flex. Hopefully you don't have to start him at running back, but I'd play him in my flex. I think he could have a really nice game.
You're probably playing Scary Terry.
Yeah, I was going to say for sure Scary Terry. I was thinking, though, would you play Dotson? Is that maybe a boomer bust flex you could look at?
Since Dotson's come back from injury, he has shown nothing yet, unfortunately. Because he was looking really good at the beginning. He got hurt. He's come back for the last 2 to 3 games.
I still don't understand why they don't play Wentz. Their offense was so much more dangerous when Wentz was starting.
If Wentz was playing, I would say Dotson.
If Wentz was playing, I'd also say throw Curtis Samuel in the mix at your flex.
But with Heineke playing, Heineke doesn't make quick enough decisions to make him relevant.
So yeah, you can play Robinson though. Gibson, Robinson, and Scary Terry. I think I'd feel good about all 3 of those against the Giants.
Yeah, that's the Sunday night game. The game of the week, or at least in the late Sunday spots, because we have 3 Saturday games this week.
Right.
Titans Chargers.
You're playing Derrick Henry.
I mean, you're playing Derrick Henry. If Treylon Burks is playing and you don't have other options, he's a good play.
Yeah.
Him and Tannehill throws a lot to him. So
I would actually say Tannehill's a sneaky play at quarterback against this Chargers defense.
Chargers defense is pretty bad.
You're playing Herbert. You're playing Keenan Allen. You're playing Mike Williams.
Playing
you're
Eckler.
Playing Eckler. Chargers.
Yeah, you don't want to get too deep on that.
Chargers, or do you think the Titans and Henry run the ball down their throat enough to win? Tennessee just keeps winning somehow. You know what I mean? Like they're not flashy. They're not dangerous. I know they have, but like they're going to be in the playoffs.
Maybe. They need this game. They really need this game.
Who else is going to win that division?
I mean, technically the Jags are only 2 games away, but the problem is
we don't think the Jags are actually going to be able to win the division, do we? Like,
I mean, if the Jags beat the Cowboys this week,
I said the Jags are somebody to pay attention to as possible sneaking into the playoffs and getting there a year earlier than expected. But at this point, I don't see them getting enough wins to overtake the Titans.
They've got tough games the next 2 weeks that I probably don't see that happening. They'd have to beat the Cowboys, and then they play the Jets next week.
And as you said, the Chargers charger, and like this is a perfect game for the Tennessee Titans to walk in there and win.
Well,
you know,
Derrick Henry has not played great the last couple weeks, so he might be due for one of those games.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, that could be it.
But I saw the difference when Treylon Burks is out there. That offense is much better.
It is.
When he was not out there last week because of concussion, they had no answer. They just had nobody to throw to.
Yeah.
So, which led to them getting steamrolled by the Jags. So
that did happen.
The Chargers are going to win this game.
Ooh.
They're starting to come together now that Mike Williams is back and healthy. Keenan Allen's back and healthy.
I actually think Tennessee wins this game. Derrick Henry goes off and the Chargers struggle. And that sucks because I have Herbert and I have Mike Williams.
Look, when the Chargers charger, it makes me smile. So I wouldn't be bad on that. But I saw some good things coming out of that game Sunday night.
I hope you're right and I'm wrong, because if I'm right and the feelings I have are right, I'm getting my ass knocked out of the playoffs. So hopefully you're right and they don't charge her this week.
I have two leagues. I actually got the bye this week, which was good. And then the 2 leagues I really care about, I didn't even get close to the playoffs. So, but those are redraft leagues. And again, when you suck one year, you have a chance to right those wrongs the next year.
You do.
Which is why I like redraft over Dynasty, because you have to live with your mistakes a lot longer in Dynasty.
I'm going to live with them forever, and it just kills me. So, between looking at you know who on my bench and you ghosting me last night, I'm real happy about my chances going into this.
That was not on purpose, my friend. Just, it just so happened that was not the right time to be texting me.
I believe you, but just so you know, I'm never going to believe that for the rest of my life, and I'm going to blame every loss from here on out on you. So
you'll be like, Pinky didn't trade me Cole Kmet. It ruined my fantasy.
it lost me the championship. So
we'll have to track the points and see if he would help.
I mean, right now I'm looking at 0, so anything is better than that.
Tough tight end's a tough spot because everybody carries like 5 tight ends in Dynasty because you have no idea if any of them are ever going to be good.
I have Waller, Ertz, and Irv Smith.
Oh, that's disgusting. Because Irv Smith doesn't matter after they got Hawkinson. Because Irv Smith's still healthy, right? Did he get hurt?
For the season, again.
Oh, yeah. Curse of Caleb strikes again. Man, that's rough. Yeah. That is rough.
Started Daniel Bellinger last week. He's now out.
I was going to say, didn't he have a decent game last week?
I think he got like 5 points, which, I mean, anything's better than nothing.
We're talking that Dynasty League, right? Where I'm the champ?
Yeah. Now I'm dipping into the free agent pool, and it looks like maybe a Jordan Atkins or Kyle Granson.
Oh, that's going real deep.
It's not looking good.
I mean, Troutman's been starting to get a little bit of play. I mean, 5 points. He's averaged like 5 points the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So, wow. Trying to go deep here.
Yeah.
Oh.
And ladies and gentlemen, on that note, you know how I feel about going into the playoffs this week in our Dynasty League. Not good. Pinky, final thoughts.
That is disgusting, my man. Damn. Whew. Have some fun. Weird things happen in fantasy. So you might be the number 1 squad, but you could still lose. So
good luck to all of you. Unless I'm playing you, I got to get that money because the wife says I don't get to play anymore unless I win one of these. So got to get the buy-ins back. Go hang out with your loved ones. Cherish those moments with your friends and family. We love all of you guys.
And you're playing our buddy Zach. Man.
I'm out. Peace.
Peace. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, my God.